Why do we feel so miserable in our relationships? I know so many married couples, so many husbands and wives who are just so unhappy. Um, every time I get to know someone closer, I find out that they're unhappy. On the outside, it all looks well, really well. Um, I have spent most of my life looking at couples and thinking, wow, how are they so happy? How do they have it all figured out? Why are they happy? How do they make it work? Not just with each other, but the whole family. And why can't I do it? You know, why is everyone so happy and I'm the only one who's so miserable? And I think a lot of us in relationships don't feel seen. We don't feel connected. Um, Yeah, we just want to connect on this deeper level, on a real level, and it's just not there. And it makes us feel very lonely, very unseen. And that opens this, place of pain in you, this where you just want more. There's a lot of pain that comes with that, with not being seen. You just get this feeling of drowning, of going under, of yeah. And then you start collecting things to make yourself feel better. You start becoming very rigid with your partner. There seem to be more and more rules, so that you can be comfortable in your life with your partner. Or you distract yourself more. You do more sports. You meet other people more, your friends. You get lost in your children, maybe. You work harder. You distract from this pain. And I find it so fascinating how this is just everywhere, everywhere. This isn't just me or just, oh, this one friend or, it's everyone. I don't know anyone who's happily married or happily in a relationship. Unless, of course, it seems that way when we're not close enough yet, where the person felt free to unpack properly. So on the surface, we sort of can cope and say, no, I'm good. I'm fine. This will do. I'm happy. And then you just keep doing what you're doing. And I also noticed that for myself as well, and for many others, you sort of come from this perspective of, I'm missing something. I'm not being seen. And there is a lack and a sort of not so much victim mentality, but poor me, I'm not getting or I'm lacking because my partner isn't providing, with something. And it's that whole, aspect again, this whole perspective of I'm lacking and I need something from outside of me to fulfill me. And I noticed that even if you sort of turn that around and try and think, okay, how can I fulfill myself? Because I think I have a few episodes on this already. I always keep talking about this. Come back to yourself, find yourself, cultivate your own heart, your own loving kindness, your compassion. And through that, the whole world will open up for you. And I stand by that. I'll always stand by that. But I feel like there is another aspect here. And that is not just that you come back to yourself, because obviously we are still human beings and we live in this world and we live amongst people and we need togetherness. We need connection with others, not just with ourselves. And I've noticed for myself, looking back over my life, especially in the last few weeks, I realized that this whole time, all these years where I've always yearned for a connection, a proper deep connection, even before I had any idea about spirituality or what I have inside of myself, before I had any idea of this, there was always this knowing that I wanted something. I wanted this connection and I never got it. And I tried to find it in people and I tried to find it in things and I tried to find it in actions and, you know, just anything outside of myself. And it never sort of hit the spot, you know, it was never right. And now I know it's, myself. But then I also realized that even if I did come across someone who was open and loving and connected to themselves, centered in themselves, and coming out and trying to meet me and connect with me on that level, I realized I wasn't capable of doing that. I wasn't capable of reciprocating this love, this connection on that level because I didn't have that in myself. I wasn't open. I was very closed. I was very guarded. I was very scared. And I was looking from a place of fear. I was looking from a place of, I knew there was something more. But because I hadn't touched on that in myself, I wasn't able to receive it from others either. I could sense it, I could feel it, but I wasn't able to make that connection because I was only able to connect to others on the level that I was connected with myself, and that was very shallow. And so I see that now, if I want to have a deeper connection with another person, I need to cultivate that space in myself first, and I need to actually open up and be vulnerable and lead with love and show myself openly, to be open, to be loving, to not lead with fear of, maybe I will get hurt, maybe I won't, maybe they won't return my love, maybe they'll ridicule me, maybe, there's all this ego stuff going on. And you just need to practice to sort of notice that happening, and that's completely fine, that's okay. But to not react to that and not take that as your truth and take that as, that's what's going to happen, or that these thoughts are in any way, useful and should be looked at. But just, okay, it's coming up. There's this fear, this protective mechanism that we all have in us, and notice it and come back to your heart. Come back to your knowing that, no, I'm still going to choose to act with love, with compassion. I'm still going to choose to have an open heart. If other people don't receive me this way and attack me, reject me, or whatever, that's okay. I'll survive. They can do that. If that's the level they're on and that's where they're acting from, then that's okay too. That's where they're at. That's fine. And, that's going to happen. That's life. That's how I was. And now I've evolved, and now I can practice living from my heart and being open. And I will meet people who will be ready as well to receive this and reciprocate it and also live from their heart. And we can sort of help each other and grow and cultivate this space with each other. And that's beautiful and wonderful. But we're also going to meet people who are not there yet, who are, younger in their development, in that spiritual development, or in their spiritual heart development. And that's okay too. They are at that place. That's great. Plant a seed for them and move on. This is again then where you don't start clinging, where you don't wish it was different and try and make it work anyway and push along and try and make something happen and wake someone up. No, you just keep staying true to yourself, working on yourself, cultivating compassion and unconditional love and living from there. Now, it gets a bit tricky, of course, if you are cultivating this space and you are already in a relationship and there are two of you and you're cultivating and growing your spiritual heart and your partner is not. Now, what do you do? Now, that becomes tricky, right? Now, you want to connect and you want to feel seen, and you're noticing that I'm not seen because he or she isn't there yet and they can't see me. So what do we do? What are our choices? Our choice is not really a choice, I don't think. There are a few things that can happen. And no matter what happens, I think what we need to remember is stay open, stay loving. Don't take this so personal. And this is so difficult because your partner is the closest person to you. And everything feels so very personal. So personal and so scary. Change is scary. For them, probably too. If you were the one suddenly changing, this can feel very scary for your partner. And they can feel left behind, abandoned. What is happening? Why is my partner suddenly changing? She's talking all this nonsense and she's not really fulfilling these, other human needs and our toxic dance that we've danced all of our lives. And why is this happening? And this is very unsettling, this can be very unsettling for your partner. And I think no matter what develops, the best thing we can do for ourselves, our partner, and everyone else involved, and really the whole world, is just to continue cultivating this loving kindness, this emotional heart. If you show up with love and you try and see them not as your partner, but as another soul, another human being, trying to make things work, figuring it out, wanting to be happy, it makes the whole process so much easier. It gives them the freedom and the space to maybe meet you, to notice that there's something there that feels true deep inside, and they can start to also cultivate that space. Or it will give the space and the compassion where you guys sort of meet maybe and say, this isn't working for you or this isn't working for me. And maybe it's best if we separate. And then that can happen in a really calm space with love, not in a fighting space. And the real tough thing is when your partner reacts, when they can't see and they can't understand and they lash out and they get angry and they blame you and they get really loud and hateful and spiteful and create problems. To remain calm and non-reactive in that is like your final exam before graduating. It is really tough, but it's doable. You can do it if you remain unattached. Just that it's not the personal. Do not go to your person where you are righteous and now you have to defend yourself and how dare they, and stay out of your mind. Notice your ego coming up, rising up, wanting to defend, wanting to attack, wanting to set them straight, set other people straight, explain your situation. Try and understand the anger from your partner. Allow space for this reaction, for this emotion. Allow space for it. Allow them to act it out. Can you meet that with love? Can you find it in yourself, in your heart, to meet that with love? That is the best thing you could do. And if you can't, then that's okay too, because we are where we are. We are on the level we're at. And even just noticing that this is what we're wanting to do and trying and then failing, that is really good too, because you're becoming aware that I was trying to do that, but this came up instead. And you can be aware of what came up and what took over. And you can work with that, not get angry with yourself, not blame yourself, not feel defeated that, I couldn't do it again. Hopeless. I'm so hopeless. None of that stuff, but just, wow, okay, this came up. This was really strong. This had to be released. And that's okay too. To work with our humanness while cultivating our heart space, while learning to integrate this unconditional love into this life, into our journey. And to just find this space where we can see our relationship from a place of, this is here to help me grow. This is my experience. This is my life, my reality. How can I use this to help me grow, to help me open, to help me soften and find my heart, and to learn to live with love? How can I use the situation for good? And you might be in a relationship that's okay. You don't really feel so seen and it could be better. And then that's a beautiful, gentle space for you to cultivate all of this, to work with your partner, not to make them be like you and to say, hey, I listened to this and I found that, and you should do that too, and we can do blah, blah, blah. But just work on yourself internally. Try, and next time you guys have an argument, allow them to win. Allow them to have their opinion and see it. And not just see it and go like, okay, I'm going to let you speak your opinion and now we're done. But feel it. Where are they coming from? How are they feeling? Without your opinion. You know your opinion inside out. And now maybe don't share it just this once. And use this as a practice to put yourself in your partner's shoes completely, entirely. And understand that the way they lived their life and the experiences they've had, this is where they've come to. And this is where they're stuck now. And this is their thing. This is their opinion. And just see that. Practice seeing your partner. Really see them, from a space of non-judgment. From a space of, okay, I hear what you're saying, and now you hear what I'm saying, and you still sort of don't really meet and hear each other. And if your ego then says, yeah, well, I'm doing it, but they never do it to me, and when is it my turn? Then you just tell your ego just to, I see that, I hear you, but now is not the time. I'm working on listening to my heart more than my ego. Because we all have these thoughts. We all feel like, yeah, but, when is it my turn? When's someone going to be kind to me? When will someone listen to me? Why is it always me who has to do everything? And those thoughts are seen too. We can see that as well. And we can hold space and love for that for ourselves. These are our emotions, our thoughts. And we have space for that too. Without it drowning us, without us getting lost in that, but just seeing it and having compassion for our own humanness. And then continuing to cultivate the heart, to cultivate this love, to live our life from this oneness, where it's not just an understanding. Yeah, I understand. We're all one. Okay, I get it, But it's easy to know it. It's easy sort of to learn it and to get it, conceptually. But now it's time to integrate it. Integrate it into your life and actually be it, not just know it. That's a tricky one. And that is something that we really do need to start practicing so that we can cultivate it. Otherwise, we're just going to sit in front of books and read and learn and listen. And it's just the mind absorbing more knowledge and understanding. And you will never really get out of this. You will never really grow because you're really just learning instead of doing, instead of being. The mind gets bigger. The mind becomes more spiritual. But we don't want to cultivate the mind. We don't want the mind to grow. Wisdom is beautiful. It's wonderful, yes. But we need to now move from our mind down to our heart and live what we have learned. We have to implement it, and that takes practice. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of softness from yourself. And if you have a supportive environment, then that's amazing. I don't know if that would sort of hinder you and slow you down a little bit, or if that would help for you to unfold more because you feel safe to do so. I personally did not have a supportive environment. I did it alone. I had one person I was able to share this with who helped me just over messages and on the other side of the world, which was sort of my anchor for a few years, which I'm very grateful for. But other than that, in my immediate life, there was no support. I had to do it myself. And I always thought I really needed support and I wanted it so badly and I didn't have it. And it was tough. And I don't know if that was maybe a good thing, that it broke me enough to, crack me open and come through it, or if it slowed me down and maybe support would have been good. I don't know. I just know that if it's from the heart and if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Maybe I was meant to do it alone and that's okay too. And maybe that's why my heart is now as open as it is. And maybe that means I can now help someone else who maybe does need someone in their life to help, to support them through it, because it can get quite rough. It's very difficult because society will not support this. Society will say, what the hell, and how dare he or she, and you stand up for your rights, and how, blah, blah, blah. There is a lot of counterproductive messages that you get from society, from the people around you. And that's mind, and that's okay too. But can you be strong enough and courageous enough to continue to move to your heart? So if you need support, seek support. And if you find it, then it was meant to be. Otherwise, keep going. Don't give up. You're doing the right thing. If you are on this journey to your heart, then you are doing the right thing. Let me tell you that there is nothing better you can do with your life. And I know it feels scary and I know it feels wrong sometimes. And you think you're going insane, or you feel like you can't do this anymore, that you're kidding yourself, that there's nothing here and you should just go back to society and just back to how it was. But just hang in there. I promise you, you're going to reap the fruits of this. There is nothing better. Nothing. There's nothing better in this life than to realize this, than to reach your heart, to open your heart and live from there. I promise you. So if you are listening to this and you're struggling right now, I beg you, please hang on, because the world needs you. The world needs people who want to live from their heart. We need love. We need unconditional love. We need kindness and gentleness. So please, please keep going. And if you need any support, please reach out. The easiest way would be over Facebook. I think I'm on there nearly every day, and I'd love to hear from you. If you need any type of support or advice, or even just a listening ear, just someone who gets it, who knows what you're doing, the journey you're on. I get it. And I know it is exhausting sometimes and scary and very difficult, but you're on the right track, and I am so proud of you for doing it. And keep going, just one day at a time.